Alright, my largest bismuth pour to date, weighing in at over 10 pounds. And makes me wonder, when Roosevelt confiscated gold and there was an exemption on jewelry, if you could just make a gold statue just like this one, right? 10 pounds of bismuth. And also I wonder if I ever need to leave the country, which I am seriously thinking about. I thought about I could just pour some of these out of an exotic metal that nobody has heard of, and it would go right through customs without a problem, right? Iridium, rhodium, maybe even platinum, although platinum's a little bit more well known and it's not really that valuable at the moment. Maybe palladium, but one of those four metals for sure, because not too many people are intimately familiar with them. And I dated a girl from the Philippines at one point. This would go right into my suitcase for the Philippines, and nobody would realize that it was worth a fortune, right? Assuming it was made of iridium or platinum, right? This kind of stuff is popular there. And especially the Philippines, they love precious metals too, right? On the other end, it's probably not hard to convert it back either, right? Maybe not so much iridium, but platinum for sure. About a year ago, I had dreamt that silver prices had went up to $60,000 an ounce. In my dream, I was watching the Peter Schiff show. It's actually the Peter Schiff show, but I personally call it the Peter Schiff show because he talks about the shit show that is the U.S. economy. In my dream, silver was $60,000 an ounce. In retrospect, I think the reason I chose $60,000 an ounce subconsciously is because I really enjoyed life when we were 6 feet away from one another, so I got fascinated with the number 6. Peter Schiff was boasting, basically an entire episode of basically I told you so in my dream. And he was talking about the Ukraine situation. In the dream, I had married a Ukrainian refugee, and I was packing for Ukraine. I had turned about a kilogram worth of silver into some kind of art, and I was going to take it to Ukraine to retire. And Peter Schitt was talking about how Ukraine had won the war, but they're at the cost of hyperinflation now. And in the dream, Ukraine had become very progressive, and I really felt accepted for who I am in Ukraine. And at the end of the dream, the Peter Schitt show was closing up, and the closing theme was playing, do 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 do, and I woke up. I was only disappointed for a couple seconds. During the dream, I actually questioned myself and asked, is this a dream? I must have questioned it at least twice or three times during the dream. And I was convinced it was not a dream because of how realistic the Peter Schitt show was playing. So when I woke up, it was like, no way, there's no way this was a dream for a couple seconds. But then I realized a lot of my dreams end up coming true, so I wasn't terribly disappointed. Now, I had this dream back in March. I really didn't start pouring bismuth until, I think it was August of this year. And now looking back at it, that dream may have been a foretelling of me making bismuth art and bismuth finally taking off to $60,000 an ounce. And what would be really nice is that I could pour one of these and take off to the Philippines. This is really popular. I dated a Filipino girl one time, but I had a bad experience. The Filipinos don't really respect personal boundaries with other Asians, and her mom had some issues with personal boundaries with me, including discussing about my eating habits and how I like to do things by myself instead of with her daughter. Now, after we broke up, I decided to Google her name and her mother's name just out of curiosity. And I discovered her mom owned some rental properties. And I discovered she had to sue, a tenant had to sue her for a return on their security deposit. And as I was reading through the lawsuit, her tenant had said that she had gone into the apartment to fix things without their prior consent, and how when they were fixing the walls, they had family members over to watch television and all that. And in the back of my mind, I thought, I kind of had a feeling of what happened. She probably thought she was giving her tenant all this extra good service, and so she felt entitled to keep the security deposit. Meanwhile, her tenants probably thought she was the craziest person in the world, and so long story short, her tenant sued her for about $2,000, and I wasn't too surprised when I saw that. So maybe not the Philippines. I'm thinking more like Eastern Europe would be probably the place to move to after the shit hits the fans. Do 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 the Peter Shit Show. Do 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 do.